at the size of philanthropy, in 2011, it was established at something like 16 billion. And people do give in India, and the amount of charity giving is growing. And today, it is estimated as only 0.6% of our GDP is charitable giving. But countries like the US have got 2.2% GDP. And it is said that in the US, 65% of the people donate money, and so there is a huge percentage giving. My estimate is Indians also give the same amount, but the bulk of them give it to religious charity, as I mentioned to you earlier, and they do not give it to the voluntary agencies as we understand it. So that is how the estimation is there. And I know there have been now studies which Amir, I think, Ingrid, all are trying to estimate. Maybe the estimation of current philanthropy may exceed even the current figures that I have quoted. So in 2021, it may be much, much higher. But my estimation is it requires a lot of people to induce to be giving. So this has been the flow of progress of thought, and the evolution has started with philanthropy in traditional businesses and the principle of trusteeship. Subsequently, there was this whole concept of CSR which is come in, and John Elkington supports the triple bottom line of people, planets, and profits. So if a company is working, they have to look at the people, they have to look at the planet and the environmental considerations, they have to look at the social considerations, which is the people aspect of it. Today, the discussion of CSR has moved towards sustainability and human rights. So this has been some of the development of evolution of CSR in the Indian context. And so we see that CSR in India, after the 2013 Companies Act, which put in section 135 that 2% of your profits should go towards corporate social responsibility. But my estimation is that the grants have only gone to NGOs which work around the factory or which are around the company's headquarters. When I started analyzing it, I thought they applied the principle of Hindu philanthropy of Desh. They considered that whatever is around my factory or my home is my Desh. They do not look at the whole country and look at people in need. And then grants have been highly placed during disasters or during even a recent pandemic of COVID. So when you have disasters, the call, that is the time, people start donating and you get a lot of grants, etc. So this must be the experience of many more NGOs that. And there has been a great emphasis on accountability, which is the Patra, which I emphasized earlier. And unless NGOs are accountable, likelihood of getting donations is bleak. So this has been the flow of corporate philanthropy. But however, CSR is still to reach any emphasis on the planet or sustainability or even ethical profits. We find that even during the pandemic, companies only increased their profits. They did not decrease their profits, but then they did not give as much to COVID. And so these are some areas which I think companies need to improve their giving characteristics, and they also need to do proper CSR. So my partner Amita also says you can't make bad products and do good CSR. So you have to have good products and you have to also do good CSR. So in order to do good CSR, you have to do ethical ways of doing business and arrive at ethical profits. So this is something which even philosophical underpinnings in our country state about, that one should practice ethics both in life as in also in corporate life. So this is something which needs to be taken into account. And this was an analysis which I did when I when I was on the high level committee for CSR, and we found that the giving goes mostly to the richer states. The giving goes to states like Maharashtra, it goes to Haryana, it goes to Punjab, it goes to Andhra Pradesh, and it goes to Tamil Nadu, but very few goes to uh, the poorer states like Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh or even Bihar, etc. And when we looked at even Maharashtra, the highest concentration of funds of giving and CSR was in Pune, in the district of Pune, whereas the poorer states in Maharashtra never got the money. So Pune, why Pune? Because the major companies are headquartered in Pune, whether it is the Bajaj, whether it is the Mahindras, and all the companies are located there. So they start giving to that location. So this does not follow the philosophical underpinnings of Ghanam. As a result of it, we find, when I looked at the CSR report, I found that this is from a website which the government has created in the called csr.gov.in. A lot of money was given to education, which of course is a right thing. But if you look at animal welfare got very little money. If we look at art and culture, that got very little money. Even environmental sustainability got very little money. And when it comes to gender equality and other causes, it was so low, almost 55.21. So we have to really think, is this CSR really benefiting the right sectors, or is it just, and if you look at the next chart, there we find that Prime Minister's Prime Minister's CARE, PM CARES and all those other funds started taking up a lot of the money. And then you find very little money going into socio-economic inequalities, or to even to Dalits or to tribals. So what is happening is, it does not go to the right causes, and it only goes to certain causes. The only cause which seems to be right seems to be education. Even the field where I worked in elderly, we used to get very little money from the corporates for CSR. So this is something which we need to look at, if we have to look at. And so I've always said that there is more money in India than abroad. So there is a need that we should go Swadeshi and not Videshi. So unless we can go Swadeshi, we will be hunting for money abroad, which will not come through. So one is, we have to strengthen the civil society discourse on philanthropy in India, which of course people like Amir and Ingrid are doing. And we have to advocacy to recognize our syncretic culture and roots. It is no point, we all our religions, all our traditions have got a huge culture of giving. So we need to look at it, and we have to create role models of philanthropists in India, and at the same time highlight simple giving. It is better that a small person giving even 50% of his wealth is better than Ambani or an Adani giving 2%. So we have to highlight what the simple givers in this country are doing. And we have to showcase the achievements of civil society and the innovations and impacts that we have done. This, of course, is a major point, that in India, most of the innovations which we currently see, whether it is drinking water, whether it is watershed, whether it is leprosy eradication, whether it is even the Nariga program, has all come from the voluntary sector. So the voluntary sector has been the forerunner of innovation and have brought these things across. So it is we have to highlight this, and we have to see that this is promoted. And we'll have to catalyze and promote every CSO to invest in local fundraising, go Swadeshi. And Amir knows, in every board meeting where I sit, I say, there is enough money to raise. You should concentrate on fundraising within India, and that is the way to go ahead. So unless we go Swadeshi, we will not raise much more money. And local ownership, support and transparency. And we have to have accountability to all stakeholders, which includes both the CSOs and even the government has to do. I will conclude by Mahatma Gandhi's word, which says, the world has enough for everyone's need, not for everyone's greed. So this has been the fundamental talisman which Mahatma Gandhi gave. And if we look at it, that during COVID, there was a report by Forbes that the Indian billionaires have gone up. And the net worth of Indian billionaires was about 34,832 billion, which means the amount of wealth that the Indian billionaires have is greater than the Indian budget for the entire year. So, which means if they even gave more than 2%, a lot of the poverty in this country can be eradicated. So it is high time that we talk to these people to give away their wealth rather than hoard it. And during COVID, instead of giving to COVID and other causes, they continue to hoard the wealth, and that has been the bane of our society. And they do not even listen to Mahatma Gandhi's talisman. And coming to personal life, if any one of you has more than what is required, I think give it away, it will give you much happiness. And if you have more clothes in your wardrobe, give it away, it will give you happiness. If you have more food, give it away. If you have more wealth, just give it away, it will give you more happiness. And I hope some of you will continue to give, and our sector can improve and do much better for those who are disadvantaged. And I would end with Jesus Christ's words, what you do to the least of me, you do unto me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.